one, have to do a part 2 for this video because it is so long. Or maybe, yeah, you know, I'll just do a part 2. So, going back, we got number 13. And we're going with the creepy crawlies. And you know what?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Combining insects and arachnids with, you know what? I may never ever get to use this sound again. So you know what? Because I love them so much,
I'm the mafia.
so perfect. We have the mega colony, which again, insectoids, mafia, crime underworld. It just works. I love the theme. We have so many amazing characters like Phantom Black. We've got Dark Face, which is an absolute monster. If you're afraid of insects like Misty from Pokemon, then this clan is fantastic. We've got so many different variety here. We've got the machinings, which are like mechanized mechanized insects. We've got the actual insects that aren't mechanical, and the full focus of paralyzing the opponents. Basically, forcing them not being able to attack or stand up. And if you have certain cards, a number of cards that can't, your cards will gain extra abilities that will prevent them. I had to edit this in because I realized this is a better way of showcasing. So in this part, I'm talking about the Mega Colony's paralysis. So basically, cards upright like this means it has not attacked yet, it has not boosted, so it can't be affected. When a card is like this, it is resting. The card is attacked, the card is boosted, so it is now in the rest position. So when a paralysis happens with the Mega Colony, they prevent the opponent's card from standing up at the beginning of the next turn, outside of the usage of an ability that makes a card stand up. Otherwise, you're basically stunned. And because back in the day, when Vanguard first started, paralysis was detrimental because it was very difficult to stand with abilities that stand up your cards again. So, continuing on, paralyzed, some of these Mega Colony cards will prevent you from guarding, intercepting, and sometimes they'll prevent you from standing completely. Even your Vanguard can't stand unless you re-ride on top. And again, having insects and a mob being able to put down the opponent and make sure they can't get back up, that is such a mob move, I'm not going to lie. You go right for the kneecaps. Except outside of using a baseball bat, you use basically webs and paralyzing powder. Now, I love the design of a majority of these cards. The way they do like the full insect motif. While some of them look dark and creepy and sinister, some of the females are more ladylike, and I do love it. I mean, Phantom Black is smoking a cigar, for crying out loud, which is fantastic. The Mega Colony shows that the small can be powerful, and by breaking down your opponent just enough, you can go in for that winning kill. Anyway, the Mega Colony, great character, great design, great aesthetic, great play style of making your opponents not having so much moves. It really, really works. So that's all I can say about these gangsters of A Bug's Life. And the jokes aren't always good. Rounding out the list at number 12, you know what? I already used a song for one joke. Why not go for this one? Stupid! You have been thunderstruck by the Narukami clan. This one, much like the Gold Paladin, was introduced in Season 2 after the main dragon theme clan was imprisoned away. So the Narukami had to bring in their power, and they are the form of thunder dragons, humanoid knights, a couple of mystical creatures such as carbuncles, which, for those of you who don't know, are these cutesy little fairy type fox, chinchilla looking things like Ruby Carbuncle from Yu-Gi-Oh! We have Garudas, we have genies, we have a whole bunch of thunder dragons to work with, and they are badass. Also, their main threat in the beginning was Kaiser Vermilion, this sick looking beast. And much like their original counterparts, the Narukami clan focuses on eliminating your opponent's creatures with special abilities. And later on in the game, I mean, they still do that, but they do it to a certain degree. By eliminating your opponent's fronts, you can gain superior power. And then the Eradicators came out within that same method. The Eradicators are a set series in the Narukami where they need cards exactly like. Basically, it's their whole set that allows them to eliminate the opponent's attacking force while at the same time boosting up the power of their own allies without wasting attacks. So basically, by using abilities, you can eliminate your opponent's units and focus more on a strategic attack. And there are some of the best boss guys ever. Like I said, Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. You got Gauntlet Buster Dragon, which is an absolute monster. By getting rid of opponents, he increases his own strength. To an underappreciated one for me, Armor Break Dragon, where is an absolute brute. Where you get rid of your hand, you destroy front row units on both sides, and he gets an overwhelming boost in power. It is a last resort move, and yeah, he's not used so much because he's more of a gimmick card for the anime that showcases how certain cards can work. It's still a beast that I love, and a Thunder Dragon. This clan is absolutely fantastic. It was given more later on in the series, and with one of my favorite characters being an absolute idiot, but mastering it later on. And that's what I love about these card games with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard. Certain characters who first come into the game aren't immediately given a win all the time because of sometimes it's luck, but they improve their deck, they improve their play style, and they get better as it goes on. It's not honestly every time they go up against an opponent, they win. They actually have to struggle, and the character who uses this clan the most is one of my favorites. So there's that. Narukami, you strike like a thunderbolt, but you're as calm. No, you're not calm at all. I don't know where I was going with that. Absolutely not. At number 11, we get another set from the Dragon Empire. Another Dragon Empire, actually. And we get the next ninjas on the list, the Numatama Ninjas, which is my personal favorite. Oh, the Numatama are just so fun. And being ninjas, they have the same kind of aesthetic as the Murakumo, but with a different playstyle. Again, they've got abyssal dragons that are shoguns and ninjas. They have smaller soldiers that are both human and, again, animal-esque. But their big gimmick is absolutely fantastic. They strike from the shadows where the opponent is weakest, their hand, by binding units in the front row and sending them away for a bit. And if they can get a combo attack in, they can get rid of those cards into the drop zone. They also attack your hand. With strategic abilities, they can force the opponent to discard cards from their hand. Not only decreasing what they can do their next turn, but depleting what they can defend within the turn that you are doing. And it gets a big boost in Season 3, which I love. The Murakumo came out second to do copy abilities. The Numatama came in third. And only having like one guy using it, who's not even a main character, and taking on an absolute threat with this is why I love this. Why I love the clan of Numatama. And then later on, they become villains with Shirenui, which is this absolute monstrous shinobi dragon that later on gets an ability called Dominate, which, by using ninja mind control, can force the opponent's guys to attack themselves. Yeah! From discarding hand to corrupting the opponents into attacking themselves, the Numatama Ninjas does what... It does it great. It's fantastic. Whether you're a hero character or a villain, the Numatama is for everyone. And I love it so much. I just wish that what we got for Link Evolution we'll get for Vanguard one day, where they bring all the old cards into a database and make it available for people here. So Bushiroad, if you're watching this, please give the fans at least give me something I would want, because I'm sure a lot of other people would love it. All right. We're in number 10, and we're going full evil this time. Released in the second half of Season 3, we get the avatar of the main cosmic void of a threat and his Vanguard clan. Cybernetic entities that are from space that look as evil as they appear to be. This looming threat throughout the cosmos have deleted and struck and restricted the opponent's will to fight on. We have the cybernetic terror of Link Joker. Yeah, I know it sounds weird, the name, but it's a name that is as menacing as the clan itself. Cybernetic entities, from cyber dragons to androids to cosmic beings that have a distinct ability. Lock. The ability to lock your opponent's cards. While they're on the board, black rings surround the units, and they're imprisoned in their card form, locking their ability to stand, attack, and activate their abilities. From the Dragon Ride chain to Schwarzschild Dragon that locks multiple units and increases his own power, to Niobium and Radon to getting power, and Prometheum from gaining ability for your opponent's locked units, to Star Vader Infinite Zero Dragon, and that's what they are, the Star Vader series. Forcing the opponent's will to be locked out as their options are minimum, to the overall arcing monstrous threat of the reverse taking the other clans and reversing a main unit that lost to the Link Joker and corrupting it with the power of the void to become a reversed unit, having the black rings of the Link Joker corrupting each clan. And from the astronomical threat of Omega Glendios, resulting in the game's first instant win condition, to later in the game being a Messiah to the new, with alter ego Messiah, as he can lock his own units and unlock cards to gain advantages. The Link Joker is villains becoming good guys done phenomenal. At first, an absolute threat in Season 3, and also technically Season 4, that wasn't dubbed, which is a shame. From imprisoning your opponent's units to prevent them from having a strategic advantage and to activate abilities and to use strategies, to unlocking them later on with the alter ego in the future series, that doesn't make them a main evil threat, but makes them an essential part with the evil entity eliminated from the clan. And there are some cards that are absolutely monstrous, like this guy. Yeah, it's threatening. But I love the motif of the astronomical, cybernetic world and focus on cosmic terms like cosmic terms and astronomical abilities and events. These units are monstrous and evil, and that's why I love them. You know I love my villains, and Link Joker is definitely one, and it's definitely a fun playstyle. From the cosmic evil to the fun and crazy, we're heading back to the Dark Zone to entertain you with the Pale Moon Circus, one of my favorites. A cavalcade of dark monsters and an absolute carnival, literal, of sideshow monstrosities, such as a Cerberus trained to do tricks, to giant and monstrous clowns tempting you to come into the big top, to the absolute gorgeous ladies that perform defying acts from the sky and helping magicians with their tricks. From Midnight Bunny to Purple Trapezist, to the beast tamers in these lovely outfits, to the monstrous beasts that they do, Dark Metal Bicorn, Barking Cerberus, it took me a while, Barking Manticore, and to the ones who bring center stage to the nightmare. The Pale Moon Circus is a fun and carnival of a deck. Once again, the Dark Zone utilizes the soul, but while the Spike Brother football players send them away in order to increase their attack power and player roster, from deep within the soul, the Pale Moon can call them out onto the field for multiple acts of play. From shuffling cards into the soul to returning them out, to bringing them out of the dark curtain of the soul into the spotlight to perform death-defying stunts. And later on, we get more units such as the Silverthorns, which are an mostly all-female troop. From Irina to Lillian to Lukie to the dragons that perform tricks for them that obey their every command. The Pale Moon has an assortment of weird cards that actually are fun to look at. From my personal favorite, Skull Juggler, to the Hades Ringmaster that starts off the show, Having the ability to soul charge and to use your soul as an extension of your hand in order to call out more units to bring out a fun and chaotic carnival of fun. This clan is one of my favorites of the Dark Zone because of the aesthetic, the playstyle, and also all the female characters in those costumes. Hello! Yeah, I'm a dude. Sue me. At least I'm not going nuts. But then there's also the side of the Pale Moon Circus. You gotta play smart. You can't just willy-nilly do the effects. You gotta do them at the right time and at the right circumstance. Also, there's Nightmare Doll Alice, which is absolutely terrifying. Oh boy. So we close this curtain of the Pale Moon Circus to go into the next one. At number 8, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the naval fleet of the Aqua Force. Brought to you into season 2 as a lost clan that was brought back by the villain. And given one of the coolest mechanics ever. The naval officers from the Tier Knight series, which are are naval soldiers with names of Greek. Yeah, they do good for Greeks, having names like, well, my name actually, Constantine, Diamantes, Basil, Theo, a whole bunch of names. And all these designs are aquatic themed. Basically, gillmen, tear dragons, and lovely mermaids with the battle sirens. Storm riders, where they ride the waves of the ocean, but still wait on command. And to the amazing tear dragons, from Hydro Hurricane Dragon to the big beast himself, Naval Gazer Dragon, and Blue Storm Maelstrom. Now, riding the waves and acting on command are only a small portion of this deck. Depending on how many attacks you have done during a battle phase, certain units can gain extra power and gain extra abilities. But having only 3 spots open, your Vanguard and 2 rear guards, it kind of seemed like there wasn't a lot to do until certain units can switch positions from the back row. So having a unit stand by and swapping their positions, indicating a good amount of attacks. And by using a stand trigger constantly, you can also gain multiple attacks and power. The Aqua Force became an absolute threat later in the series. Not becoming so evil, but still becoming a massive, massive threat. I do love these units. The design and theme are great. And being number 8 on the list, you're doing something right, Aqua Force. I love every character that they do it. They act like Marine generals. The whole aquatic theme works so well. And having we have militarized dinosaurs, so why not a navy of denizens under the deep? And now we got to number 7, where loyalty is a good thing. But sometimes sacrifices must be made for victory. And this is where E's favorite clan comes in. The Shadow Paladins. Somewhat like the Royal and the Gold Paladins, the Shadows are Knights of Justice, but on the dark side of the United Sanctuary. Warriors and dragons and beasts that will be sacrificed in the name of victory to enhance the power of the main forces by gathering the allies, and then in in one stroke of savagery, units are sacrificed in order to grant power to the mighty Black Dragon, Phantom Blaster Dragon. And having a shadow counterpart of Blaster Blade, Blaster Dark, is basically Blaster Blade if he went emo, but with a even cooler aesthetic. From Garuru Bow to Skull Witch Nevin, these units focus solely on gaining more card advantage by discarding units and to gain power. And then later on, they continued that play with the Revengers and even more amazing units. We get Mordred Phantom, which is a wicked knight on his black Pegasus horse, to even more badass later in the series with Aura Geyser Dragon and Clarence Sword Dragon, which still utilize the gimmick of sacrificing units in order to gain advantage. It's a dark world, and with the contrast of the other paladins focusing on unity through strength, the shadows shall sacrifice all to obtain victory. And the aesthetic of it and the design are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And yeah, they are technically villains numerous times throughout the series, until the last season, when they're brought out as the Drag Wizards, which are, as you would see, wizards who utilize dark magic and still sacrifice their own, but bringing forth more in order to obtain more power. The Shadow Paladins has such a rich diversity within its clan. I'm going to be honest, unlike the Gold Paladin and the Royal Paladin, which kind of has like more main focus and not that much diversity among its choices. With the Revenger series, the Blaster Dark series, the Drag Wizards, and the Clarence Sword series, the Shadow Paladin has a lot more diversity, but still focuses on sacrifice for the greater good. And that's what got them this high on the list. And now it's time for one of two of the very first clans ever shown in the game. We're going into the Dragon Empire for one last time to bring in the apocalyptic flames of these incredible dragons, warriors, lizard men, Lamia and Naga warriors, to dancers of flames that worship the dragons. We have the Kagero clan, which is all about detrimenting your opponents in apocalyptic fire, eliminating your opponent's rear guards in order to gain advantage, to absolute awesome characters as embodiment of armor Bar, Vortex Dragon, Berserk Dragon, Dragon Knight Nahalem, to the immeasurable power of one of the franchise's greatest units, Dragonic Overlord. This thing could give Blue Eyes White Dragon a run for its money with so many forms and incarnations. Oh my God. From the end to the legend to the rebirth, Dragonic Overlord has had so many forms throughout the franchise, and each one brings forth something more and incredible to the entirety that is its immortal being. Rising from the ash to fight again, the Dragon Empire's main clan will bathe the battlefield with fire and will rise up. From wyverns destroying units to monks who garner energy for the dragons, to knights that focus on combat and eliminating enemies, to again the overwhelming onslaught of dragons. So, if you're into dragons, this is a deck for you. Even later on in the series, the Kagero clan still continues to be a force to be reckoned with. That's all I gotta say for it. And now we're going to heal your broken souls with another clan that definitely has the hospice cares of the angel feather, taking the heavenly bodies of angels and archangels and combining it with the health industry of doctors, nurses. It's beautiful. And I'm not just saying that because a lot of the female characters are kind of, most of them are. But again, the designs of these characters of these cards are great. From Million Ray and Thousand Ray Pegasus to the Metatron lineup of cards, to Burshot Bethnail, to Ironheart Mastema, to the mobile hospitals that are giant mechanical angels that seek to heal and destroy. Coming in season 2, the big gimmick of the angel feather. So we've worked with the hand, we've worked with the soul, we've worked with the drop zone. One thing is left, the damage zone. You get 6 cards in your damage zone and it's game over. But the angel feather brings out something new. Not only can they cure your damage by taking certain cards, you can manipulate cards in the damage zone. So if you get a card that you needed in there, you can swap it out for another card from your hand or your deck. And whenever cards are taken out and placed there, certain units of the angel feather gain more power. Some can even be superior called from the damage zone during battle. Such as, Crimson Impact Metatron, Chief Nurse Sam Shield. This head nurse will give you power while recovering and damaging you at the same time. The Angel Feather has a super amazing mechanic of manipulate, even something that is seen as bad as taking damage, you can just manipulate it. Basically, much like the soul, it's an extension of your hand, which gives you multiple options later on, depending on what's there to work with. And some cards will even work well with others in the damage. To the celestial blue-winged angels later on that can manipulate it furthermore and gain extra power. Now, we've gone from the angelic caretakers up above, and now we're going into the dark depths of the darkness with the Dark Irregulars, a cavalcade of demonic beings that utilize the number of cards in the soul in order to gain external power. And some of these take reference from Wonderland or Nightmare Land, from the March Rabbit to the Dark Knight and the Evil Queen and the Dark Queen. Yeah, they didn't go so far into the Wonderland theme until later on, but it wasn't enough. To the absolute mythological creatures of werewolves, vampires, and the succubus, increasing the soul while tempting the opponent to come closer. Demons arise from the darkness and destroy the board. Once again, focusing more on the number of cards in the soul and keeping them there, these units have immense power. From the demonic advent of Ammon and his many, many followers, to the vampires of darkness that seek to strike in the night. To one of the more iconic cards I love, Steel Vampire, using his ultimate ability to change your opponent's Vanguard to a unit on the front row, which in the battlefield, which is bad, because if you got a grade 0 there and they use the ability, you can't. A big thing with the game is you can only guard with grades higher than your Vanguard or even. So if they switch a grade 0 like they do in the anime, you better watch out. These Denizens of the Dark are so cool in concept. Again, being mischievous demons, succubus, monsters, creatures of the night, and they strike in the dark as well, waiting for their time, as their empty soul accumulates to an overwhelming power, and they let out that energy to decimate their opponents. The Dark Irregulars are one of my personal favorites because of their motif, their gameplay, their style, and their overall strategy. And it's done so well in the anime that you can't hate it. We're in the top 3 and we're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. We've gone over mermaids, dragons, police and evil kaiju criminals, circus freaks, demons. Now we need something with a little more oomph. How about intergalactic warriors and superheroes and giant robots that battle it out in the ring? And no, I am not joking. We have an absolute thrill to watch the members of the Elite's intergalactic unit of the Nova Grappler Arena. Fighters in the arena. They don't know the meaning of the word quit. These aliens, these heroes, these cybernetic robots don't know how to back down. From immeasurable iconic characters such as Mr. Invincible to the mechanized war machine that is Brutal Jack. These units are focused on multiple attacks and ways of combating the opponent, no matter how strong they are. And from a gimmick character to the ring announcer of screaming and dancing announcer shout to the ring girl that heals us when we need it, Ring Girl Clara. To the giant robot threats of Ashura Kaiser. To the mighty King of Beasts, Lion Heat. And then later on, we get the Beast Deity series, which is cybernetic animals. Well, robots. They're not animals. They're just robots with animal motifs. That's once... I gotta take a breather. Once their attacks are done, they have the utmost ability to get back into the battle and constantly attack. Basically another version of the Aquaforce where they can swap their positions for extra attacks. The Nova Grapplers will stand on their own if certain conditions are met and gain a power while they fight. From Damned Leo to Hatred Chaos to Riot Horn to Ethics Buster. These mechanical units and fighters know no bounds, and they will continue to fight until the final bell has rung. A big thing with the Nova Grapplers is constant combat, and I do love the theme of having intergalactic creatures being used in an... It's almost equivalent to that old anime, Ultimate Muscle. If you don't remember it, it was so stupid, but so weird, but so enjoyable at the same time. So, again, another big thing, and it is so fun. Watching the card game go and imagining these robots fighting, it's so amazing. That's all I gotta say. And now at number 2 is the top 2 are my personal favorites, because again, this is my list and I get to do it. Another clan that focuses on the soul, but this time We use it to predict our own future. Break the binds that shackle us to our fate and fight on to create our own destiny. From Norse mythology to ancient Greece, to Roman gods and predictors of the future, we have the witches, myths, and legends of the Genesis clan. From my personal favorite, mythic beast Fenrir, to the goddesses of fortune, these units are some of my favorites, with the ability to check the soul and utilize the soul to predict the future. When certain cards are soul blasted, they can activate abilities, from gaining power to calling themselves, to looking at the deck to predict the future and to change your own fate. Once again, an amazing units based on mythology, based on Roman mythology, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, even a little bit of Japanese mythology, and a sprinkle in of cybernetic usage, such as guns, cybernetic armaments, and also magic being used. This clan is my personal favorite, and I do love the aesthetic of it. And not once during gameplay, as I play with my Norse creatures, did a guy with a beard and an axe and a show up to ruin my fun. Yeah, I don't know why I made that joke. I just needed something fun. But as much as I love my units that predict my future, I prefer something with a little more intelligence to it. And what better use of intelligence than to peer into the animal kingdom? My number one Vanguard clan is one that came out a little bit in Season 1, but came to be in Season 2, and a play style that makes me love it so much. The wild academia that is the Great Nature. Savage animals run wild of the high-arcing Academy for Intelligence. Though beasts they are, they still have intelligence. Combining a school, university, and animal motif is absolutely fantastic. Focusing on two things: hand size and gaining power. Certain units will retire units while being retired, getting a card advantage, while searching for extra cards in order to add to your hand size. From the units of Pencil Squire Hamskay, which after this little ham suit is gone, you can immediately retrieve another copy of him. And I do miss this old style of gameplay. While the future of the Zoo Great Nature clan still focuses on boosting attack power, while at the same time retreating them and gaining more knowledge to your hand. From Compass Lion to Armed Instructor Bison, to the absolute savagery of School Hunter Leopold, to the absolute weirdness that is the Searchers of Knowledge Locke series, the wild forces of nature of animals mixed with the combined super intelligence of the academia, the Great Nature clan makes full use of combat, strategy, hand size, while at the same time making sure that your knowledge is in full effect of the clan. And again, yeah, I'm an animal guy. I love animals, and I love how they combine the aesthetic of the whole school and implement them into the animals themselves. Instead of making them just anthropomorphic animals that are just smart, they're actual animals, and a lot of them are very threatening. And I just love the aesthetic. I love the animals. I love the gameplay style. I love the aesthetic. I love the strategy. Great Nature is my number one favorite clan. Again, that's my bias. But it's one that I built my first deck from scratch. And I learned a lot along the way. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me in these videos. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and join me next week, where after going through my card game video, we're going back into a series that I love, where we're going to be solving crime through time. This is Gamer K, logging out.